Did nobody ask? Did nobody check him for no steroid? I said, he had quick hands, he would hit. I said, why y'all ain't checking for steroid? He ain't checking steroid. And then...
You think he was on steroids?
Of course he was on steroids.
What we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids.
Way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol.
Boxing icon Evander Holyfield has stirred the pot, throwing shade at Canelo Alvarez with pointed comments hinting at potential performance-enhancing drug use. With the anticipation building for the Canelo versus Terence Crawford showdown, Holyfield's statements have sparked a wave of heated debate and suspicion within the boxing world.
Greatest Mexican boxing fights of all time, in my opinion. Yeah. So I feel like I'm 100% confident in myself. If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him, so he never got off
You think
steroids.
he's on steroids?
Of course. Sure. How does
You saw De La Hoya
how do five people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids? Right. All those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
Yeah.
Although Holyfield stopped short of directly accusing Canelo, he has long been a vocal advocate for harsher punishments for fighters caught using banned substances. Back in 2018, after Canelo tested positive for clenbuterol, Holyfield suggested that any athlete caught doping should serve jail time, stating bluntly that such offenders should be locked up for 30 days.
Alvarez failed a drug test before his big Triple G fight in May, and he's blaming Mexican cows. All right, here's the deal. 2 months until the rematch with Gennady Golovkin on May 5th is going to be the big fight, and he's been taking drug tests leading up to the fight, standard operating procedure. This time he popped for a substance called clenbuterol, which is a banned substance. As a matter of fact, it helps you cut weight. A lot of people use it illegally to cut weight while maintaining muscle mass. He is saying he did not cheat. He's not a cheater. I did not intentionally take clenbuterol. Problem is, I've been training in Mexico and eating contaminated cow beef. That's what he's saying. There's a problem apparently in Mexico where some of the cattle are being injected with clenbuterol, which helps cows. It's illegal in the United States, but some places outside the United States, even some places in the United States, will use clenbuterol to grow bigger cows, to up the protein content in the meat. And he's saying that what he had was contaminated meat because his training center is in Mexico and there's a problem with Mexican meat down there. He even issued a statement saying, quote, "I'm an athlete who respects the sport, and this surprises me and bothers me because it had never happened to me. I will submit to all the tests that require me to clarify this embarrassing situation, and I trust in the end the truth will prevail." So far, the fight with Gennady Golovkin is still on. He's still dead set on making that fight.
Floyd Mayweather has also taken aim at what he sees as hypocrisy in boxing when it comes to steroid scandals, especially in Canelo's case. He insists that while certain fighters face harsh criticism, high-profile names like Canelo are given a pass because of their star power. According to Mayweather, this double standard damages boxing's credibility, allowing some athletes to dodge accountability. He stressed that PDUs is not only blatant cheating but a serious health risk that erodes the sport's honor.
But what we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids. Y'all don't talk about that. So we don't know. We really don't know all the fighters he beat. He could have been not clean in a lot of fights. Canelo, and the list goes on and on about athletes that's been cheating.
Been accused of cheating or been proven?
No, been proven too.
It's been proven.
Yeah. Oh, Canelo. Oh shit.
This been proven.
Lance Armstrong.
Okay.
And then Canelo talking about it was the steak that it was the meat that he was eating. So okay, now you eating. I guess you're eating steroid cows. Man, these boys kill me.
Adding more fuel to the fire, David Benavidez has outright accused Canelo and his entire team of using steroids. Questioned why Alvarez would sidestep a fight with him if he truly believed in his abilities, especially considering the repeated positive drug tests linked to Canelo's camp. Benavidez didn't hold back, labeling the whole team dirty and reigniting their already tense rivalry.
When the greatest Canelo came out, the one that you guys seen that fought Triple G the first time, bro, dude popped dirty for clenbuterol, bro. Why do you think the second fight didn't happen? So, for me, seeing that was the best Canelo I've ever seen. But that was Canelo off of steroids. Everybody else that he fought Amir Khan, he fought Daniel Jacobs, he fought what the f is his name? Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant. These guys are all weak, bro. So for me, that's why I feel like I see Canelo Alvarez and I see like he's not as good as everybody thinks. Because the best one that fought Golovkin that first time was off clenbuterol. That was the best Canelo I've ever seen, and that's why he looked so good, because he was off clenbuterol. So with the Canelo, he even got suspended for like 7 months.
So it's guaranteed he was
guaranteed took it. He said that he ate meat that was tainted in Mexico.
Now let me ask you that question.
I've talked to people. They said for him to test positive off a piece of meat, he would have had to eat the whole.
The spotlight has also fallen on Eddie Reynoso's gym, which has faced heavy criticism after multiple fighters under his guidance failed drug tests. Canelo, who trains with Reynoso, has been caught up in past steroid controversies himself. Skeptics note that several boxers from this camp have tested positive, raising doubts about the environment, methods, and oversight within Reynoso's training program.
Addressed serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for clenbuterol 2 times. You have Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. You know, at a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero has said, certain point in time, your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not going to get up. If I was 210 now at 50 years old.
Observers have pointed out that naturally packing on significant muscle mass in one's 30s is notoriously difficult. Yet Canelo's recent noticeably bulked up frame has people talking. His physical transformation stands out even more against the backdrop of Reynoso's camp's doping history. The fact that multiple fighters from the same gym have failed drug tests has led critics to question whether Canelo's gains are truly natural.
Muscle as if I'm juicing. If for a 30-year-old, right? You remember, your body grows. Men's body can grow in height and length up until to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length. In your mid-20s, you know, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30.
On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan weighed in, revisiting Canelo's prior clenbuterol suspension and the renewed chatter about his physique. He stressed that fighters owe the sport complete transparency, especially at the elite level. Rogan's comments only fanned the flames of suspicion as the fight with Crawford draws near. Many fans remain skeptical, arguing that given Canelo's history with PEDs, these fresh allegations feel like history repeating itself.
What up, everybody? It's your boy MC from MCTV. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo Alvarez is on steroids right now as we speak and is going to be fully juiced with something that hasn't even hit the market yet. Think about it. He's pretty much a billionaire. He has access to everything.